I'm absolutely thrilled to be here tonight announcing the winner of the Richard M. Fontera Memorial Award going to Dr. Robert Waxler this evening. When I first arrived at UMass Dartmouth in 1990, Bob became one of my very first colleagues to invite me to engage in a professional project. And through that connection, I was lucky enough to be introduced to the Changing Lives Through Literature program, which I'll talk more about in just a moment. A little bit of background. Robert Waxler received his bachelor's degree from Brown University, his master's from Boston College, and his PhD from SUNY Stony Brook. He's been a professor of English at the University of Massachusetts Dartmouth since 1975. I just learned that today and was astonished. 1975, that's great. In these 41 years, he's served as department chair, Associate Dean of the College of Arts and Science, and Dean of the Division of Continuing Education. He was also involved in the creation of the Center for Jewish Culture at UMass Dartmouth. In 1991, Bob Waxler, along with Judge Robert Kane from the Bristol County Superior Court, created the Changing Lives Through Literature program. And this is what it says in the notes that I got, and I'll talk about a little. Changing Lives Through Literature is a bibliotherapy program that offers alternative probation sentences to offenders. So what does that mean for the program? It means that instead of going to jail, people were required to take a literature class, astonishingly creative, with a university English professor teaching the class, and often with a probation officer and a local judge attending. I had the great pleasure of evaluating this program early on and seeing the impact that it had on the people who were involved. And it's just a sensational program. In 2003, Changing Lives Through Literature was awarded the Exemplary Education Grant from the National Endowment for the Humanities to expand their training. And in 2004, from the Massachusetts Foundation for the Humanities, they were given funds to provide for books and transportation in Massachusetts. Reading from the bio notes I got, at a cost of less than $500 a person, proponents say that Changing Lives Through Literature saves the government tens of thousands of dollars when compared with the cost of housing an inmate, I hate that word, sorry, for a lifetime at an annual rate of $30,000. The program is said to help reduce the recidivism rates among certain segments of the prison population. Former offenders credit the program for giving them a second chance. I want to step back from those bio notes and say that as someone who works in the criminal legal field and who works with people who are incarcerated, I can tell you that these sorts of programs give not just a second chance, but respect and a sense of self-confidence that is rare in a brutal system. I've always had profound respect for Bob's belief that it was important to try to keep the classes out of the jail so that those being sentenced would also be kept out of jail. As the Changing Lives Through Literature website says, the system doesn't always cooperate with that, but the ideal remains critically important. But that's just one part of his life. Bob has published several articles and books. One in particular stands out and has much to do with this award tonight. Co-authored with his wife Linda, Losing Jonathan was a book written about the loss of their beloved son, Jonathan. Jonathan was and remains a powerful presence in their lives as well as the lives of others. Kim Wilson told me that she was in school with Jonathan at the Labor Center at UMass Amherst. She knew him as a fellow student and thinks of him often. During his life, Jonathan was a determined advocate for social justice. After his death, Bob and his wife Linda started the Jonathan Blake Waxler Award for Social Justice. A few of the many recipients of that award include Camille Viveros, who is now the Labor Education Director at the Labor Ed Center, Brian Pastore, Deputy Director of Community Economic Development Center in New Bedford, and Siggy Mielis, former organizer of Bus Riders United in New Bedford, and now senior organizer for Americans for Transit, a national nonprofit that builds bus ride organizations and fights for transit justice. This is quite a legacy. And I can't really say enough. I'm saddened that Bob can't be with us tonight. He's recovering from a recent hospitalization. But it gives me great pleasure to introduce his son, Jeremy Waxler, who will accept this award on his behalf.